We're good.
And then we can just
We live.
we
What's
live,
up,
y'all.
beautiful
What's
people?
good? We're gone.
We're going Jamaica. We about to turn this into a dance song.
Right.
What's good, everybody? Yo, we here. We live. And
We
full of
are
plans.
live, fam.
This is not a pre-recorded episode. None of that. Okay.
It's scary.
Really? We out here, right? We out here. So if we mess up, if we say something crazy,
We live.
we live. We live. Do it, Vaughn. Do the
We're
crazy.
here.
We live.
We going live, y'all.
We go live. Watch your mouth. Well, we raw, whatever. I mean, if you get too crazy, we don't like that. But
Yeah, we don't like that. We don't like that.
expression.
So this is the Intermission podcast, y'all. Or didn't we say the Mitsubishi? I don't know. We were in blue at the time. Intermission. I think that's what it was. Intermission.
Yeah.
Anywho, we are the Intermission podcast, baby. This is what it is. So let's get into roll call, okay? Like we usually do. So I am CEO Will, aka Jessica Williams.
And I am
Go ahead.
Jessie Denise.
And I'm Ivana.
All right. And so listen, we have been on this Men Are Trash series, or M.A.T, because let me tell you something. Facebook and Instagram tried to come for us talking about hate speech. And we were like, it's clickbait, but we understand what you're saying.
I kind of type of way. I feel like we was reported it did. I think some people was in their feelings. I was like, first of all, step out your feelings. Second of all, click the link so you can know what's going on before you just click and report. Okay.
Because we always knew who had not watched the episode.
We knew immediately. Right. We were like, you clearly didn't watch it if you had that opinion.
You're coming at me crazy.
Exactly. You didn't know what was going on. The DMs was real. That was vicious. We had our first bout with the trolls, and I think we came out on top. I'm just gonna say.
We
always
did. So we've been following this series that was supposed to be shorter, but then they started killing Black people all willy-nilly, so we had to address that. And then we had to talk with our homeboys, and we had to talk about police brutality and things of the like. You know what I mean? Life happens. It's a thing. So we've been doing this Men Are Trash series. We did the finale right last week. That was the finale, but then we was talking and we was like, I feel like we need a bonus episode because what's been beautiful about this time is we have allowed incredible Black men, very smart, talented, amazing Black men, okay, to come on here and express themselves, which is not something that we're usually used to hearing, right? We don't really give Black men the space, or a lot of men in general, but Black men specifically, because we keep it real and trill around here, the space to be able to have these types of discussions. So we started off with our opinions about men being trash, which we do not think that, I repeat, we do not think that men are trash.
Not all men. No, we
not all.
Some of y'all is hella trash.
Some of y'all are right.
Let's clarify that. Some of you guys are hella trash, but we don't think all of y'all are.
Yeah, but we're not like the bitter Black females. Like, oh my God, I'm in this trash. We don't think that, right? So then we got our homeboys involved, right? We asked them. We were like, what do y'all think about this topic? Our single homeboys, and then we had some great, incredible married men that we know, love, and trust, who, are walking the walk and talking the talk. Okay, that's very important. Keep that integrity in track. So we did that in 2 parts. Hopefully you guys have checked it out and enjoyed it. But what was great is they just kept bigging up their queens, right? Like they were like, my wife's so beautiful. She's so incredible. She holds me down. The way she just, rides for our family, our kids. So we was like, listen, we got to meet the queens of the castle, okay? It's not enough to meet the kings without the queens. Because, in fact, gentlemen, think about this. Gems and bombs. That's what we said we were dropping.
Hey.
Gems and bombs.
Okay? You're a prince or a princess until you're joined in marriage and matrimony, okay? So you can't, everybody's running around talking about their king, right? But I'm like, but where's your queen at, though? Where the queen at? If you ain't got the queen, you're not really in there, okay? So, a lot of y'all are running around doing all that. So we had to talk to the queens, all right? So the queens are in the building. We are starting this officially off with Wives Speak to be the other side of the husband speak. So we're gonna introduce him. So Yvonne, I'm gonna kick it off to you. Can you please introduce our first lovely queen?
Yes, our first queen is Mrs. Adrian Melvin. She is the wife to Mr. Roger Melvin. She is an amazing mom. She's an entrepreneur. She's one half of the Red Couch Chronicles, which you guys have to check out. She's an amazing friend, and she is like the dopest marriage mentor that you could ever get. Like, I've experienced having her as a mentor, and she gives you the real. She don't hold back. She lets you know the real, no holds barred. So I'm excited to hear what my sis has to say tonight.
Listen, she gave us that business in the pre-production meeting. Okay, it was like, all right, okay,
all right.
So go ahead. Welcome. Hello. Make sure you're unmuted. You're all good.
Hey. Hi.
Listen, you know, we have to. What do you mean? We have to introduce you proper, right?
I said, "Oh yeah, I am some of those things sometimes."
You're all those things.
You're all those things all the time. You're all those things all the time. Okay.
Yeah, thanks, guys. I brought us a little.
I appreciate that.
Didn't I say bring libations? Didn't I say it? I just have
one time for the one. This one time for the one time.
But you know, one time for the one time when you dropping these gems and these bombs. All right. So moving right along. So we also had Tony Price, man, comedian extraordinaire, all around, just great human being. Okay. Best host of First Fridays. If anyone knows about First Fridays, I will fight you in person about this, because Tony Price is the best First Fridays host ever. And he gave us mad gems and mad bombs, and his queen is here. So I would like to introduce Miss Kendra Paris. She is the mom of two beautiful and sometimes challenging, come on, somebody in a COVID, huh? Can I get a witness? Challenging girls, but beautiful, amazing girls. Y'all actually saw one of them at the end of the last episode. We're a very family-friendly show, so if a child pops in here, just be kind. It's the COVID, okay? The y'all babies interrupting your business meetings and everything else. So anyway,
my 24-year-old was just popping. He was just peeking in the room. So
hi, Kristen. So mom to two beautiful young queens, okay, young princesses, soon to be queens, a small business owner, a skin guru. Let me tell you something. I was on her Instagram page today, and I was like, I need some of this in my life, because you got to keep the melanin pop. Look at all this shit. Look at all this melanin. Okay, you got to keep it popping, pop. So it
won't crack if you take care of it.
Listen, and she had beautiful queens of all races, colors, shapes, and sizes, and their skin was flawless on that Beyonce. Okay, and of course, she's the wife. Okay, the other half of Tony Price. Y'all clap it up for Kendra Price.
Hey. Hey.
So we're so excited for you guys to be here, man. We have so much ground to cover. So we appreciate y'all taking out your time to be with us. So we just thank you. No, Kendra, go ahead. Anything you want to say? Acknowledge the people.
I'm just happy to be here. I mean, it's nice to be able to express my side of things. Tony's always like the talent, you know. So it's nice to be able to share my side.
Yeah. We love that. So let's just get into it, man. Okay. First question. Let's get into it. How did you meet your husband? Where did you meet? You know, everybody's on that, like, maybe I'll meet him in the grocery store. Like, I gotta stay beat. Like, maybe down the street at the same time. Like, if I stay ready, I ain't gotta get ready. So, like, what is
low key?
Listen, what is the origin story? Did y'all meet online? What's the story? Somebody give us the story.
You want me to go?
Sure.
Go ahead, girl. Okay, so I was dating his college buddy, and we went to a party. And he was, as he would call it, holding court in the cypher in the garage. And I was very impressed. I was like, okay, you know, he was good with his words, just very like confident, but there was no romantic feelings because I was with somebody else. So fast forward to the heartbreak of that. And then the year after that, we started hanging out as friends like a couple times and had a blast, like laughed all the time. I was looking forward to the next time. And then all of a sudden he texted me like at midnight, I can't hang out with you anymore, I don't think. And I was like, does this have anything to do with your homeboy? And he was like, no, I think I'm catching feelings for you. And I was like, okay, well, I can respect that. He took that as rejection because we had never spoke about it yet at all. And he disappeared for 2 years.
Wow.
So in that 2 years, I was like,
wait, can I just circle back? He took you saying you respect his idea as rejection?
Yeah.
Put a pin in that. Go ahead.
I told you.
Yes. But granted, we had never spoke about anything of that nature with us, you know? So I was caught off guard too. So my response was, okay, I can respect that. Fully continuing or thinking that we were going to continue the conversation. But I think I think he wanted me to be like, yes, anything you want. Yeah, like right then and there. So 2 years disappeared. I focused on myself. I did my full-time work, full-time school. It was like the best 2 years that I could have done for me as a woman. And then I reached back out because at that point, I didn't feel like I had anything to lose. I was confident in myself. If he didn't respond back to me, I didn't really care. I was just really in a good space, So I reached out around like Valentine's Day and I just went for it and said, we should meet up for Valentine's Day. And I think I threw him a little bit and he was like, maybe the Friday after. I was like, okay, let's do the Friday after. So the whole time, the whole week prior, he's trying to get out of it. He's trying to find some excuse, trying to do this thing. And then Friday comes and I'm like, you know what? If you want to see me, you'll come see me. He's like, I want to see you. I was like, well, then I'll meet you there. So we met up and that was the night when it was like the first kiss. And then like everything just changed from there. So that's the origin story.
Yes.
But he had to, he had to go ahead and let me know what his current situation was, which was he had a girl. He had to talk to his boy, to make sure that was copacetic. He knew that what we had was legit and he wanted to grow upon it. So that's why he came to me very honest and real. Like it was a full letter on Facebook. Like, this is what's going on. This is what I'd like to take care of. I don't want you to go nowhere, but I want you to know what's up. And I felt like that was pretty amazing. So I just kind of hung out and waited for him to figure it out. And that was that.
And how long was that? How long were you hanging out?
About 2 months.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Listen.
About 2 months.
This is what I was gonna say. I said, just this is the story of that you've been waiting for because Kendra, you are a spirit animal. She be the main one. Like, so if you want to get to know me, like I understand, like
right.
Like, I was like, okay, all right. That's called coming correct. Like,
yes,
I'm correct.
Wow.
Okay. Amen.
Wow.
That's wonderful.
But we didn't do anything like physical. I wasn't gonna go there with him until he was done with his situation. But he was living with the girl at the time. So it was like he had to really like figure it out how to do it. And he didn't really figure it out. He actually got caught. So it kind of like helped him out that way.
Expedited the process.
Yes. He would talk on his BlackBerry. I miss BlackBerries. But we would talk on his BlackBerry and then he left it in the bathroom and I guess his girl found it and was like, what's this?
Who's Kendra?
Mm-hmm.
Who's
Wow.
Kendra?
Yeah.
I mean, sped up the process.
The Lord works in mysterious ways.
Wait.
Sure does.
The way of the BlackBerry, amen. The way of the
right. Right.
Listen.
All right, hey, you up? What's up? Give us the story.
The basic answer is we met at church.
Okay.
But really young. I was 15 and he was 18. And oh my gosh, there's so many versions of the story. I'm trying to think of the most succinct thing to say. We met at church. My mom has always loved him. We come from strong church roots. So like we were in the youth choir. He was on the praise team. He was so saved, you guys. And I was just not that saved, but I was coming, I would show up. And then my mom, like through high school, she'd be like, you should ask Raj to the dance with you. And I was like, I'm a player. I don't ask people to do stuff. Like, I don't ask guys stuff.
I'm sorry, can I stop you real quick? Did you say Roger's on the praise team? Like, what, so he can sing? Is that what you're saying?
Can.
No. Okay. You know, we used to go Mike Raj, but he be playing with it. But I'm like, if there's a real vocalist in there, I need to see. But
we literally met in music ministry together.
See.
Anyways, so we were just like, similar to like what Kendra's saying, like we've always had chemistry, but even when I was single, I was never single. I'm just gonna own up to that. And so there was just never, and to be honest, I don't even know if we ever thought about it. We were like best friends, like homies, and everyone would always say like, you guys should be together. And I was like, what? That's my homeboy. So that we played that homeboy card for a really long time. No, nothing, no kissing, no hand holding, no nothing. We were like legit best friends. And then I don't know what triggered it, but I feel like it was one summer where we hung out like different, still no physical, nothing. But it was like, it just got to a point of like, okay, this is a little bit undeniable, you know, like this is like something more. But I wasn't completely available. Let's just leave it at that. And, you know, he was really saved, you guys. And so he was just like, he would always be like, you have a whole boyfriend. And I would be like, I mean, we're not really together. Like, you know. So fast forward, he ends up moving to SoCal. And I don't. I end up really being with someone else, get married, have a whole baby. Shout out to JoJo. And then it took us like 6 years to circle back. Like he would always, we had like a tight core friend group. So my homegirl and Raj were still tight. And I remember it so clearly because at that time, the marriage wasn't it. Put a pin in that. And he called my homegirl and they just were talking and he was like, man, like, let me get A's number. Like, let me talk to, you know, I got to call A. I miss her. You know, that's my homegirl. We haven't talked. And she like paused and he was like, what? And she was like, she's married and pregnant. Awkward silence. So
episode or a BET movie.
Right. So she calls me knowing that I was like not in a good space with, you know, my marriage and all that kind of stuff. Also, I was like 12, like, you know, I was really young. And so she calls me and was like, guess who I talked to? And I don't know why I already knew what she was going to say. I started crying. I was like, Raj. And she was like, mm-hmm. I was like, what did he say? And she was like, he asked for your number. And I just bawling. And she was like, I was like, what'd you say? And she was like, I didn't give it to him. I told him you were married and pregnant. And I was like, yes, I am. So that was it. And then as time progressed, that marriage dissolved. And somewhere around that time, my same homegirl was like, I'm coming to get you. I was having a really rough time. She was like, I'm coming to get you. Let's go to the club. Because that's what people did.
That's what people still do. What you talking about?
Right.
I will do that for my friend in a minute.
Right. So she was like, I'm coming to get you. We're going to the club. So we went to the club. She picks me up. I'm like crying. Like we do a whole thing. We pull up at the club. It's pouring rain. Don't care. We at the club in pouring rain and like backless crop top, whatever, looking like God knows.
Yeah.
And we're just like standing in line. And she was like, I was like, you know what? Call Raj. She was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, call Raj right now. So
were you drunk at this time as well?
I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I was wondering. I've been just send him a text, girl. And I'll be like, okay, that's over. That's great. Sober-minded.
Sober-minded. Like, and we called him from her phone, and I was like, hello, and he was like, hey, and I was like, what's up, Clint? What's up, him? And we just started laughing, and that was it.
Amazing.
I mean, that was essentially like, that was the inception of it, like being real from that point on.
That's dope. Wow.
Yeah.
Both of y'all have similar stories then, like the come back around kind of thing.
Yeah. That's very important though, because I think, you know, people are like, I met this person, I think it could be something, but like timing is everything. And if you kind of like jump the gun and people think like 2 years and 6 years is some time.
It's a long time.
That's a long
Like,
Right.
most people will be, come on, Miss Denise Ruthie. Hello, God's timing with the
God's
timing.
timing.
It's so important. And you know, a lot of people are not like down for that waiting process to like qualify.
Yeah. And it's not even like it's so funny because it's not even like, and maybe Kendra feels different, but for me, I wasn't waiting on anything. Like I was fully engaged in a whole nother something else. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like, I feel like there's sometimes where it's like waiting for the one seems like this kind of treacherous thing. Like I'm waiting, but I don't know that I was waiting. I just was living.
Mm-hmm.
Plus,
Like,
I think if you're in that, even when you're in that
waiting
space, it doesn't allow you to continue to grow upon yourself because it's almost like you're stalled out, you know?
Yep.
So you have to let it go to grow, you know? So I agree.
Let it go to grow.
Gem in a bomb.
Yeah.
Gem in a bomb. Okay.
So that's a good segue, yeah?
It's a great segue. Because you guys have already sort of talked about like what your husband was like when you first met him, but like what made him different than the people you had previously been with that you were like, I'm willing to commit to this person for the rest of my life. Like I like them enough to do the work that's required. Like we really gonna do this. Because that's the thing I'm concerned about. I'm like, I don't know that I would like a person enough to be like every day.
Right.
Okay. So what made this guy different for you?
So
I think
go ahead. You go.
Oh, okay. I was just gonna say it's a funny thing to answer because I mean I'm talking about someone that I knew at 15, so it's not like a bunch of like all these niggas before. Can we say niggas on here?
Yeah. Yeah. You already said it anyway.
You're on a podcast.
Okay, well we out here now. At that time, it wasn't all these people, but by the time we actually came around full circle, I was 24, with a 2-year-old divorced. So I felt like I had a very different perspective on not necessarily a plethora of guys. I could talk about that too. I was out here, I know need a lion, but more than that, between the time that we like started dating and got married, I don't know that it was a comparison to like these niggas as much as I know what divorce looks like. It was much more marriage based than like, you know, individual guys act like this. My perspective was much different about like, I know that marriage works and marriage is from God and this could work. And I know the damage of divorce. Even that young, like that grew me up like in monumental ways in terms of character and development. And like, I think that, not to be like this deep, this fast, but like, I think that I don't know that people understand like the brevity and the weight of divorce. You know what I'm saying? So I think my mind was just like, I know exactly in a marriage specifically what's tolerable and what's not tolerable, period.
Yep.
It's like, that was my benchmark. So young. Yeah.
That's what's up.
And so that was about me. To the question about Raj, I feel like he has been at his core the same person from 18 to he'll be 40 next year. Character wise, he's the same person. Like everything about his personality is the same as it was at 18, just elevated. You know what I'm saying? Obviously magnified because we're married, but nothing about him is different. Nothing about him is surprising. It's a weird space between not like boring, predictable, but there's nothing that would happen that's happened in our marriage that made me be like, didn't see that come in, because he's the same. He's consistent in who he is consistent.
That's good.
Very good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Kendra, what about you? What you got?
For me, it was when Tony was honest with me that first night, letting me know everything that was happening. That was different because he wasn't just a pretty boy with a smile and a great attitude and the life of the party, which I was already always attracted to. It was his honesty and it was his vulnerability that he was already ready to give me that. so that took me back, and I was like, okay, that's why I was like, okay, I'm not going anywhere. Figure it out, you know? Fast forward a little bit, when I learned more about him, his hustle and his ambition and all of these things that he had going on, that was also different, because all the pretty boys I had been dating was just living off of their prettiness. It wasn't nothing like, I'm going to do this, I'm doing this, I'm already doing this, my plan is to do this. It wasn't any of that for me. So to hear all of his plans and his goals was very inspiring for me. And I saw future versus just in the moment.
Today.
You know? Yeah.
That's huge. I think that's a big deal. And I think, to your point too, Roger I come from a home of like, you go to school, you get a degree, you get a good job, and you stay there and you have a good retirement plan. And Roger's been an entrepreneur, and I had never seen like hustle just wasn't necessary. You get good grades so you can get into a good school, so you can get a good job. It's just like a formula. And then once you have a good job, ain't no hustling, you have a good job now. Right. So that was something different too. Just a different mentality, that, and I feel like I had never seen love in such a protective way before, like a proactive protection. Like outside of my father, to be honest, you know, I didn't think that like young guys did that. Like in my head, I attributed that level of protection with like uncles and older and dads and grandpas. But but he was very much that as well.
That's super dope. So what about like their evolution as men and as people, like since you guys have been married, like how have they evolved as, you know, husbands and fathers? Anything you guys want to speak to in terms of their journey from your perspective? Kendra, we can start with you.
So to me, I noticed his selfish tendencies, had to kind of go through the motions. We would, you know, we moved fast once we got going. So we moved fast. We were moving in together. We were pregnant before marriage. So I didn't want to be a pregnant wife. So we had Kennedy, and then we got married 9 months after that. But he was still, because of his job and his personality, he was out at networking events and out late, you know, doing his thing. Excuse me. And I was home pregnant, and I was worrying, and I was like, you know, stressing over this, stressing over that, and his safety. And it's like, he didn't quite get all of that until the baby came. And then it was like a whole nother thing, you know, and his evolution of being a father. Like I know he mentioned on the podcast before, like Kennedy with her diagnosis of autism came with a whole like other, like, are we doing this right? Like, what do we need to do to make sure that she's got, you know, so that kind of humbled him too, and brought him, you know, kept him home more, I should say. But also it was part of his nature to be so social. He didn't quite know how to not be so social. So, and I let him do that because that was his personality. I wasn't threatened. I didn't like, you know, he's around all kinds of other people. I didn't really care about that. It was the fact that you need to come home at a decent time and make sure that you're safe. Like, don't be reckless, because now we have a family.
Yeah.
You know, so he had to kind of like go through that to like, you know, realize that it's not that important. What's going on out there here is important.
Yeah.
So that was good. Part of that evolution. Yeah.
Come on, priority shift. Listen.
That's so good. And right. Like redefining those lines of boundaries is super important. And I would almost say the exact same thing that Kendra would say in terms of selfishness. And Roger would laugh if he heard me say that, because it's kind of the running joke now. I'd be like, he'd be like, I know I'm so selfish. And I'd be like, you are so selfish, but not in a way, not in like a typical way, like he wouldn't give you something. It's weird, right? And I think we attribute it to, I had baby at 22. So I feel like all of my adult life, I've been somebody's mom. I'm responsible for somebody, right? And that's almost exactly directly out of high school. Like I know, Vaughn, you can relate. Like childhood, I've been grown forever, right? As opposed to by the time we got married, Roger was already 30, I think, if I'm calculating right, or maybe 31. So to be a bachelor for 30 years as opposed to I'm pregnant at 21. Yeah. Right. So there's a certain level of I do me because there is just me, as opposed to I've been thinking about us, whoever that us was, since I was a baby, right? And so my mind and being a parent early like that in your 20s, I didn't take the time to figure out who I wanted to be. It wasn't that process didn't happen, as opposed to living all of this life and then finding your dream job and then working your dream job. And then, you know what I'm saying? So we had very different experiences there. And so I think to your point of selfishness, and like everything that comes with that, like I rearrange my money and pay stuff how I think, because that's been working for me. Like Roger's like, you know, I eat my first meal of the day is whatever time that is, and it's always going to be breakfast. He has to have breakfast first. If it's 3:00 in the afternoon, he got to have an egg. We got together. I'd be like, you know, it's small stuff that doesn't seem, that you don't think about until you're in the moment. So just the evolution of like, well, I'm not really hungry right now. And I'm like, but me and Joji are starving. Like,
right.
It's lunchtime. It's that bachelor mentality, like you were saying. It's that bachelor mentality. When I was dating Tony, I would go to his house and he, no joke, would only have one bowl, one fork and spoon.
What? No.
He had condiments in his refrigerator, but no food.
Nope.
So I was like, I can't be here if you don't feed me, because I get hangry. I get hangry. So you need food here. So I had to learn, like, okay, I have to come with food. He used to call me the bag lady because I would have a Trader Joe's bag, I'd have my work bag, and I would stay there for like Thursday to Sunday. But I had to survive there, you know? So he ended up buying me like a toaster oven, like all this different stuff. But it was that bachelor mentality. He didn't have to think about anybody else but himself for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know?
And then even on the father evolution, again, like it was so interesting because by the time we had our second baby, Jackson, our oldest, Jordan was almost 8. And so like, so Raj came into Joe's life when he was like literally had just turned 3. So we both felt like he was great at like a toddler dad, all of that. Like you missed all the fun stuff. You missed all the crying. You missed all the nursing. You missed all
all the fun stuff.
You missed all the fun stuff. And so we talk about this often, how I was used to being around a toddler, and like toddlers are excitable and loud and all the things. And I would find myself when we would be together trying to like, I was so afraid that he would be annoyed by Joe, that I would be like, when I felt Joe being loud, I'd be like, come on, let's go play outside. And he'd be like, where y'all going? And I'd be like, you want to play outside? And he'd be like, you just gonna get up and walk out, like, and not say it. But in my head, I'm trying to protect you from feeling like overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And he would say like, because I could feel it, like he'll tell you, I could feel him get irritated because you live alone. There's no noises other than the noises you make. So I would be trying to like circumvent, like, well, I don't want you to be irritated because then I'm gonna feel some type of way if you look at my baby crazy or if you say something, you know, like it was just this kind of weird space. And then he would be like, you have to let me like get used to that. And I was like, well, not at the baby's expense. You're not gonna be irritated. Now I'm in trouble because you don't like noises, you know? So it was kind of, we had to like, those were growing pains, but I think because this is before marriage, but the fact that he was like, no, I have to not be irritated when Jordan's being hella loud. And I was like, you're right. But so that came from him, as opposed to me having to say to him, hey, he's 3, so you can't be annoyed when he's crashing cars. Like that self-actualization in, you know, him was like kind of a shining light, like, oh, you do know you're being a jerk. Great. Okay, well, I can deal with that.
As long as you're self-aware. As long as you're aware.
As long as you're self-aware. Yeah. You know, so there's so many moments of just things that you know, that you see evolve over time that eventually, you know, I think the bigger point is like, again, this word tolerable, like, can you see yourself getting past this? Not can you see the person changing, but can you see yourself getting past this thing?
Drop some gems and bombs in the comments. Gems and bombs in the comments.
Those two things are not the same.
Yeah.
Those things are not the same. The solution is not, can Joe play quieter? He's a 3-year-old boy and he's going to be loud. Are you okay? Can you become okay with, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how was he different with like the other kids? Like when he had missed all that stuff. So was there like a big shift? It was like, oh wait, it's a newborn now. Like,
yeah. So it's funny that he's different in that. Well, no, I'm gonna be honest with you. He's not different. He has a quirk. Like noises are a thing, like are a trigger. Like we could be on the freeway, if something's rattling, like he'll pull the car over. Like he can't.
Oh wow.
Like that's like a quirk. He cannot deal. So it's really funny because I can't even say that he's different. I feel like he has figured out how to just navigate around that because this is the life we live.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
This is the life we live.
Yeah.
He doesn't love loud noise. To this day, he'll just come out and be like, "I'm gonna sit outside." That's fair, right? Totally fair.
I feel him because I went from living a very quiet adult life to having a 6-year-old in my house, and the level of noise all the time. I'm like, bruh, like I had to go off him in the day. I'm like, we in a quarantine still we still quarantining over here. I'm like, people are doing other things. Like people are on the phone, people are doing work. Like we're quiet when you're at school, but they just gotta keep it going. So I get it.
And I think that like I actually love that point because I feel like you have to recognize the reality is most people aren't out here just changing who they are. They're just figuring out
being chameleons. Is that what
you got to figure out how to ebb and flow. He's not different. He still hates noise. Like there's some days where the kids will be like, like tiptoeing around like you guys, Daddy doesn't like that. And I'll be like, you're not different. You have adjusted because that's what's required. Like, and that's the mature thing to do. Like, that's just what it is, Yeah. And it's not a forever, and we're not in a forever space. It does feel like forever today, but
right. That's a thing. That's what's up. Vaughn, throw to you for this last it's just not enough time.
It's not.
Not enough time. I'm trying to do it. Listen, y'all let us know in the comments if y'all want us to bring these two queens back, man. Because they ain't dropped half the gems or the balls of the bombs that they dropped on us. But go ahead, Vaughn, kick it with this last joint.
So for our last question, we want to hear about y'all. We heard from your husbands already. We heard what you think about your husbands, but how have you both evolved as women, and how have you evolved as wives?
And mothers, if you want to throw that.
And mothers, yeah.
So evolution is a daily thing.
Gems and bombs in the comments.
You have to every day as a parent specifically, when you wake up, you don't really know what's going to happen. With 2 females over in this house, 2 little ones. We're talking about waking up on the good side, the bad side, and that drives the whole morning. With Kennedy's diagnosis, that was a big shock to my system because we had decided that I was going to stay home and do the stay-at-home mom thing. And when we got her diagnosis, I took it really to heart. Like I wasn't doing enough. I didn't talk to her enough. I didn't educate her enough. I didn't, so I had to sit with that and figure out what that was. And that's still, something that I kind of deal with on a daily basis, but now it's more of an acceptance and getting her the help that she needs. And then as the second one came, you realize that each of these little beings have their own energy and their own ambiance, and they feel off of you. Like they respond off of how you are. So if you're impatient and if you're coming at them with more of like that noise thing or that whatever it is, they're going to feel that agitation. So I've tried to evolve in a sense where I need to come in myself first and be like, why am I so upset? Am I just feeling, is it my own thing that I'm feeling right now? I'm tired. I had a long day at work. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And all she wants to do is play with me, but I'm not trying to play right now. I just want to lay, But it's hard to balance that out. So as a parent, I think that I learn every day as that goes. As a woman, I feel like I have learned to be more open as far as what's going on with my husband. I mean, for example, like we did like a love language exercise. Are you familiar with love languages?
Yeah. So Chapman, love languages, take the test, read the book.
Really good, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Tony's his words of affirmation. And I am not that great at vocalizing what it is that I'm feeling about him. Because I'm in my head a lot, I think. So I'm like, he should know I love him. He should know I support him. He should know I'm super proud of what he's doing. But he needs to hear it. So I had to really challenge myself to find the words and the energy, even if it sounds funky or whatever, to make it come out of my mouth and have him respond and receive it. Because
it's the energy part. It's the energy part.
Yes. And that made such a difference in his whole mindset. So that's something that, you know, I've evolved and I'm still evolving with as well. As a married woman, I lost a lot of friends, like right when I got married. And that was a weird shift because I was like the first in my crew to get married and have a baby. So people were still out doing their things. And then they would text me and I couldn't text back because I've got a newborn, you know, and then they would get their feelings hurt. And so it was like, there was a lot of that. And I had to become okay with the fact that Tony is in fact my best friend. Like, he is my best friend. And now come full circle, 7 years together, 7 years married, 10 years together. I actually want like a different group of friends. Like I want the people that can relate to my lifestyle, you know?
Yeah.
So every day I feel like I'm evolving.
Yeah.
That's good. Hey, what you got?
Yeah. That's 100% true. I kind of want to be like what she said, bro. Like,
hey, you know, bombs in the comments. Like, bro.
What she said. I feel like as a mother, yeah, man. I think the things that I can pinpoint that have evolved specifically with 3 kids now that we're outnumbered is
outnumbered.
We're outnumbered, right? I feel like grace. I was gonna say patience, but I don't feel like that's 100% true. I think a more appropriate term is grace. Did you guys hear that?
Fighting back.
Grace.
I heard Roger's baseball. I was like, oh,
the whole internet heard that, right? Grace.
Y'all know that's your life right now too. Don't
I think grace for sure. To remember that, like, I think sometimes we expect. I don't know. I think we expect a lot out of kids. You know, I feel like we expect a lot out of kids, and something in me wants to say, especially like children of color. I don't know if you guys know about this, like adultification, right? Like, a black mom stays saying like, "You too old to be doing that."
Yeah.
You too old to be acting like that. You too big for that.
And you're 5.
You're 5, right?
Right.
So like, stop saying that. You too old to be crying. He's 2. Like, stop it. So
you know, our kids are like, you better grow up fast for they get you out here. Like, I'm trying to help you out.
Right. Exactly. But I think that's too much. It's too much pressure. I don't think we allow grace for them to be how old they are. Like,
let them be a kid.
You're a kid, and that's it. And it does stem from, I don't want to hear that, so be quiet.
Right.
I don't want to play, go to bed. Right? Like, that's not fair. So anyway, grace. I think the biggest evolution in terms of me being a woman, you guys are triggering me right now, because to my earlier point, having been a mom, right, since 22, I don't feel, the first time, I'll be honest with you guys, I really thought about who am I was when I quit work after our 3rd baby, which was 2016.
Oh,
wow.
So from pregnant at 21, and I didn't have the privilege of asking myself, who do you want to be?
Right.
You somebody's mom. So you should go get the job that pays the most money. It's not about, you know, there was no like, what do I want to be? Doesn't matter. You have a baby. So I feel like I'm right now in this space of like, who am I as a woman, as opposed to defining myself by like roles and caretaking roles, which is difficult and really hard. But I feel like the biggest thing I've learned, and I'm still trying to evolve to, is comparison kills. That's real.
Yeah.
That's like
also
the real
great Jonathan McReynolds song, by the way. Shameless
shout
plug.
Out to Jonathan McReynolds.
Shout out.
And here's my oldest child. Okay. I'm actually live.
Hi, Joe.
What up, John?
Okay.
We're family friendly around here. What's going on?
Actually live. That's fine.
My bad.
But yeah, comparison kills. Like I can't, like, that phrase embodies it so perfectly, because the pressure for women to be fill in the blank, whatever the thing is,
Right.
is so crushing. So often. It's so crushing so frequently. It's not even funny. And so you have to just decide, like, whether it's hair or weight or single or married or kids or not kids or whoop or don't whoop or relationship or not or girlfriends or whatever. It doesn't even matter. You have to recognize that, like, what works for you is what you should do.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gems and bombs in the comments. Drop the gems.
Like, it's not deeper than that. Like, what works for you, the healthy thing, right? Not like escapism and that kind of stuff, but like the health thing that works for you is the thing you should be doing. Then, like, that's it.
Yeah.
I remember after I had Addison, who's 5 now, like maybe when she was like 8 months, I sat Roger down and was like, listen, we need to talk. I'm big now. That's it. I just wanted to let you know that I know that you know that we both know. I'm big now. That's it. Like, I have no plans of getting skinny anytime soon, and we should just call a spade a spade.
Right? True. Hey,
I had to relieve, like, I had to just decide, like, maybe one day I won't be big, but today and for the foreseeable future, this is what I look like.
Yeah.
So I had to say it for me, not because he was acting funny. I had to say it for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, like, you've known me since I was 15, and I'm in here like hiding, like you haven't seen my body. That's dumb. I have to say that. I have to free me and say, okay, let's stop doing this, you know?
Yeah.
And then I think the biggest wife thing is niggas is gonna mess up regularly.
gems and bombs in the comments, man.
That's just what it is. Not because they're not.
One more again.
Niggas is gone.
Is gone. Is gone.
Is gone. You are going to have your feelings hurt. He's gonna forget your favorite thing. He's gonna do the thing you didn't ask him to do. He's not gonna like that. Not because they're trash, because they're human. That's just the end. Your feelings is gonna be hurt. Now what?
Now what?
How you gonna work? How are we gonna work through this?
How are we gonna work through it?
That's just the end. That's just what it is.
Yeah.
Like,
Break it down.
it's just as simple as that.
It's a thing. Well, listen, man, I appreciate y'all so much, man.
Kendra, let's connect.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let me tell you, Roger and Tony was on here chummied in a mug. Like, we was like, y'all gonna be doing game nights and like dates and like,
and we're not gonna be invited. So.
Y'all not gonna be there.
We're not gonna be invited.
We may have made the connection, but we're not invited.
No, you're not invited.
I love
it. Yeah,
it.
we consult to bring good people together.
We were like Red Couch Chronicles. When that
we gonna do a mashup.
They welcome.
We're gonna
do a mashup for sure. So,
that'll be fun.
Make sure y'all check that out. So thank you, ladies, so much. I appreciate y'all.
Thank you, guys.
You know, y'all family in the podcast now. Like that's just what it is. You can be like, I got some things
more questions.
Yeah. Go ahead. What'd you say?
I said I have so many more questions, but
we have so many more questions, man. we gotta keep this pushing. And you guys are invited anytime. Thank you for the gems and the bombs. Gems and the bombs.
Yes, thank you.
Their Instagram handles are inside of the chat.
Yes. Here, let's see if we can show it. Damn, that's them right there.
Oh, that's
you guys want to follow them. That's their Instagram names.
Yeah.
There's Red Couch Chronicles. Sorry, we're going to put that in there too. But it will be also on this video as well, you guys. So you can follow them.
Yes.
No.
And then we're going to get ready for
businesses. You heard me?
Yes. I'm about to get the skin right.
Listen.
I'm about to be
20 again. Call me up.
I want baby skin, you know. Well, thank you, ladies.
Thank you guys so much. Bye.
All right, y'all. Listen, this has been that was dope, right? That was dope. Yeah. I was feeling it. Listen, I'm gonna go through and highlight a couple of comments that I saw before we get into this next segment. My homegirl Corinne, shout out to Coco Plus one time. Thank you for watching us on the Laker game. I know how important that was to you. 2 years, man. 2 years is a long. Listen, that 2 years. Adrian said 6, honestly, which was a big thing. Chanel, shout out to Chanel Tice one time. Yes, it's Jesse's Blue Light special vibes.
I'm giving the vibe, sis.
I'm giving the vibe. She did in the pre-production meeting, and we were like,
it's a nighttime. Like, why not?
Ariel, Miss Handy, it's a vibe. It's a vibe. Ruthie, shout out to Miss Denise. Loving the stories, loving them. Let's see. Go ahead.
One of the biggest thing is Kendra's story about how her and her husband, how they got to that point. Just something big, like that fact that she was dating his friend, didn't quite work out, but then when her husband stepped up, it was her just friend at that time. Yeah. But when he stepped up and stepped correct. And it didn't take no time because he had already been peeping. He had been peeping, right? But it just reminds me all the time when men say or women say, if he knows, he gonna show you. If he like you, he gonna be about it. I was like, see, this brother knew. He did.
And let me tell you what I love. When he
didn't know what he wanted to do with it, right? Or he knew he wasn't ready, evolved to that point yet.
Exactly. See, timing is everything. You got to know yourself. And then when he got caught, he was like, I was looking for an excuse to leave this anyway.
Okay. But the thing is, too, and he was honest, not to the girlfriend, but he was honest with Kendra.
But she wasn't it, though. That's why he wasn't being honest. You know
right. And he probably cared about the girlfriend too. He didn't want to hurt her feelings. There's probably a whole plethora of things that were going through his mind. But once he knew Kendra was it was clear, and there was no he was like, look, this is what it is. He was honest with her, look, I'm in this situation, but this is my plan. This is what I'm going to do. I got to talk to my homie. I got to do this. He was honest with everybody in the situation. His boy, which could have ruined his friendship, whatever it is. But he was like, at the end of the day, this is what I want. And so I'm going to do and take the necessary steps to get there. And so that's why you can respect the whole situation, because you're like, he's coming at me correct. So, okay, I'm going to wait 2 months because this is what I want to do, so, and then Roger just being like, I need her number. Give me your number. And then even knowing okay, she's pregnant, she had a baby, but because she was his friend and they had a solid root of friendship, he knew okay, I want to take this on, because when I first met them, I did not know JoJo was not his biological child.
They don't look like one big, lovely, beautiful.
They do. They all look alike. But the way they were together, and when I would see them together, I had no idea. And I was like, well, is that Roger's son? Is it Adrian's son? Is it both their sons? Only because the littles are so far apart. But I was like, that happens all the time. I had no idea that he was, not his bio son, because he treats them, the same, which is a testament to the man, he is, which is also amazing.
Amazing. And to my mother's point, you know, your core is your core. Adrian said he was consistent the whole time. Like, if you can't be like a flippy floppy, like wishy-washy there, that means you chameleoning in all the worst ways, right? Like you should consistently being yourself. Miss Shari Williams, shout out to you. Look, she said part 2.
Yes, part 2.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? The bonus episodes, I'm super with it. And yeah, man, so many great things. So thank y'all for the comments, and then of course this one, you know what I mean? Gems in the bomb. So if you feeling it, drop that in the comments. All right, man. So listen, that was only part 1 of the conversation. If you got to drop out, you drop out. I understand. But listen, okay. So we talked to the wives, all right, but we had to call up our aunties, man, because. Actually, I was telling them about this, and they was like, "Yo, we want to be on." Because
they keep it real.
They keep it real. Let me tell you something. This production meeting was like, it was a thing, boy. So, what they wanted to do, man, because the things that we've been talking about, you would think that as you mature and grow as a person, you would be better, especially by a certain age, right? At a certain mature age, you would think you would be mature enough to be overcoming some of these things we've been talking about, right? But they're going to talk about that it is possible. Okay, we've been talking about trashing your past, trash behaviors, patterns, thoughts, and attitudes. Okay, we've been dealing with our trash in the present, but oh God, it is possible to be trash to the future. And so the aunties wanted to come in because they single, free to mingle. Hello, if anybody's out there, if you got an uncle, somebody, you know what I mean, like let us know what's up.
That ain't trash though. He can't be trash. Okay, they gonna set him straight. They gonna set him straight.
That's not trash, okay? Because they're not playing. So we wanted to invite them on as mature queens, beautiful Black single women to tell us. Just give us sage, you know, in that story, what's the story? The Christmas story, where the man met the ghost of Christmas past, present, and future. These are sage apparitions from the future to come and tell you, like, don't be Leroy at the club. You know what I mean? Don't be Otis at the gas station. Do better, be better. So let me bring on my Auntie Dawn. You know what I mean? Coming straight from Sin City. Okay. Vegas. Hey. What's up, Auntie? And then this is my biological. Oh no, she dropped out.
She dropped out. She'll be back.
She'll be back. Listen, see, let me be honest, okay? So she was supposed to be on the laptop, but they were playing. The service wasn't excellent. The laptop wasn't ready. So she's on her phone. So, you know, we got to give grace. All the saints out there, pray, okay, for the internet connection. You know what I mean? But let me bring it. Auntie Dawn, you back.
Here you go.
Listen, I told you.
I'm back. I'm back.
Saint.
Hi, baby.
Hi, Auntie. What's up? So now I'm about to give y'all this is like my auntie by heart. You know what I'm saying? Like, we done been to Guadalajara, Mexico together. She helped raise me. Like, I'm the person I am today. But I'm about to introduce you to my biological cousin, who I'll call my aunt, because she's, her and my mom grew up like sisters. It's a whole thing. So this is my Aunt V, Aunt Valencia, coming straight from the H-Town.
What's happening? And the crazy thing is, of course, Dawn and I went to high school together, which is cuckoo, and she didn't know it for forever. So it was just like really crazy.
Forever.
Shout out to Cass in Detroit.
Cass Tech, yes.
Cass Tech. Hello.
Cass Technical High School.
Detroit, Michigan, baby. D-Town, stand up. What's good? What's good? We getting a lot of hey aunties in the comments. So.
Hey babies. We the cool
Hey, baby.
Thank you, Aunt V. You always be knowing because she got that English degree. She's scholarly. She said it's a Christmas carol. It's a Christmas carol is what it is. Okay, so y'all are here as future apparitions.
Why we gotta be apparitions though? Why we gotta be apparitions?
I'm sticking with the ghost thing. I'm sticking with the ghost thing. They real though.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They real. So all right, let's get into this first question. It's an annoying question. It's the one everyone gets asked if they are not being defined by their relationship status. I mean, so question number 1: why are you still single? Why? You know,
Donnie, you take this because I'm single again. You take it. Yeah.
Right. So I've been single this entire time. I've not been married. Been engaged twice, but not married.
Engaged twice. I just
and I believe that I am single because I figured out what my worth was, and I just was not gonna give the preciousness of who I am to anybody. You needed to work for all of this because I got some stuff to give, and you can't just be giving it to anybody to take and do with it what they want to. You know, making trash out of what you are as a person, because folks will take you there.
Okay, come on, Gems and Bombs. So praise hands in the comments. Okay, all right, Auntie. So you said you newly single.
Not newly single. I'm single again, meaning I've been married.
Big facts.
And I find myself in these mature years of my life very much single. Okay. Because I married trash in the past and trash in the present. So I know what that meant. In fact, one of them wasn't even really a marriage because he was already married. You want to talk trash? Then we could talk trash.
Sure.
Not like
twist.
You know, the book would be a bad Lifetime movie, I promise you. But anyway, if I deal with the fact that here, you know, I heard you all saying some things before, and so the young ladies who were here a few minutes ago talking about coming to themselves and knowing who they are, and Dawn talking about you know, knowing our worth. Well, I spent a whole lot of years not knowing that, and so I allowed trash to attach to me, because when you don't see yourself as anything but trash, then it's like the fly on Pence's head. It just hang out. It just hang out on your head. It's like, trash on your head. You trash, so but this hang out right here. And
oh gosh, hanging out.
So when you don't see yourself as the value you should, you draw trash. That's what I mean. And sometimes we want to call something trash, but we've drawn it. You know, our lives weren't complete enough, so trash filled in the blanks. You know how sometimes you put a whole bunch of crap in your purse because it's a big purse and you really don't have nothing in it, so you just put a whole bunch of junk in it to fill it up. Sometimes that's what happens in our lives, that we are we got big purses. We know we got something. You know, I never had a doubt that I had something, but because I didn't value it enough, trash got to get in my
it's
bag.
The Erykah Badu Bag Lady song.
But you know, because I wasn't carrying that trash. I just had
too
much.
I was carrying mine for a while.
In it. I just had too much space for trash to just be in my bag. And I had to be okay with an empty bag. That was what the point was. I had to be okay with only the essentials being in my bag.
Pack light.
Pack light.
Yeah.
Pack light.
That, yeah.
Or
she can sing about
change purses. Change purses.
I packed the purse so that your purse has pictures in it and you can keep moving. You right about it. That's good, though.
Come on now. Come on and preach up in here. I love it.
Yeah. We change purses.
We're going to get to these comments. Okay, so we want to do a little review, okay? Just a little review.
Cool.
So we just been going through a couple of key points about this particular series, all right? So our first M.A.T, because we had to change it to M.A.T, I told you, because the communities were like,
You can say it here on YouTube.
They're like men are trash is offensive language. So our first one was listen, we got drag.
If you're offended.
Okay. In this age of misogyny, 2000.55.
Come on, big.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It was hate speech. They labeled us hate speech. Anyway, the first one is about cultivating communication, right? So sorry, my alarm was going off. Cultivating communication. So we were talking about the lack of communication. We were talking about men specifically, but we were like, women do this too. Boasting on people. And so to Vaughn's case, in one of the first episodes, we were talking about like her not feeling like she could communicate or had the right to communicate things that were bothering her or pet peeves or anything like that early in a relationship to sort of like keep the peace, keep things at bay. But those little things grew up into big, huge mounds of things later. And so we talked about communication. Our second point was understanding your journey and evolution and the need to sort of release baggage. So we talked to our single homeboy just about emotional life, because most Black men are not in space to talk about that. And we talked about being able to know where you are in your journey, kind of to the point that the wives were talking about earlier with like, Tony knew like, I'm on a path of like, this isn't the greatest thing to be having, you know, this girl on the side and this woman I'm like crazy in love with, but he could articulate like, this is where I'm at in my journey, how you feel about that, all the while making plans to like change things up. But you know, a lot of people, you know, be having others and baby mamas and things of that nature that they don't want to talk about. They're like, oh, we're gonna talk to you and keep you on the side. So being able to be like, I just am not looking for a relationship, or like, I'm just looking for a love and touch. Like, where are you in your journey, in your evolution? Releasing baggage, past relationships, things of that nature that stop us from, again, not packing light and dragging that stuff with us from relationship to relationship, not taking inventory, not assessing those things. And then lastly, just dealing with basic pride, selfishness, and egos that the wives also spoke about that people were able to overcome. But I think if you don't know you have those things, or you have a blind spot to that stuff, you just kind of operate normally and you're used to people adjusting around that stuff, right? So saying all that to say, I mean, do we feel like these types of behaviors that we've highlighted along this series, like, do they go away with age? Like, when you grow up, do you automatically just your glow up in life begins and gathers? So you're saying that you can be of a mature age and still be
because by this time they're rooted and grounded.
Jesus.
Jesus.
No, I should say
they are attached to them. Look, they're attached to them like the barnacles on an old whale. They just dragging them around, dragging them around.
But here's the grace answer. The grace answer is this. The barnacles.
Come on, Pastor. Come on, Pastor.
The grace answer is this. If no one ever says to you that's unacceptable, then you never ever get to unacceptable. And you think it's something wrong with this 17 women you've been through because they couldn't do what you all said in that first segment, was how to communicate to them. That mess right there is unacceptable. And you ain't all that. I don't care how fine and how much money you got. You don't get to do that.
Or how fine you think you are and how much money you think you got.
Or what commodity you think you are in this world. You don't get to do that. The little thing, I was dating older guy, so that was the first thing. But anyway, older. But I realized there was a problem. There was a problem because we would go to the movies and he would eat all the popcorn he wanted and then give me the popcorn.
Oh, hell no.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Selfishness.
So, but
you guys.
And y'all, I don't know if you want to tell her age, but we are in our 50s. And to be dating an older man doing that foolishness.
So listen.
It happened to me last year.
Huh?
That happened to me last year.
Listen, can I tell you that attitude right there, that one right there, that is a deep-seated I am the man and no one can tell me otherwise syndrome. And so therefore, I don't care how nice that person is, at the core of him, what did Pam say? The core is your core. At the core of him is the me, and you get my leftovers. And guess what?
My leftovers.
Yep. I wasn't there. I'm there for it.
Wasn't there for it.
So,
nope.
Leftovers
for that.
Yikes.
Still my Cheez-Its.
I mean, somebody would say
that is what that behavior. That's what the behavior saying.
Come on. If you do that with popcorn, what you gonna do with money? What you gonna do with time?
Anything
what are you
else
gonna do to talk to you? What are you gonna need? You're gonna get your and needless to say, under the guise of marriage, if you take the popcorn, what else you gonna have to get all of before? Never mind.
Right.
That's
wow.
a conversation.
But I'm real.
That's real.
I think Adrian had mentioned that to us too. Not in this last one, this live, but she had told us in our pre-production meeting, like in these small things, like if you can't exercise, she was talking about discipline. If you can't exercise discipline in this small thing, that's gonna do a number in your marriage, and that trickles into money, that trickles into all these other things. And so, yeah, the second you said popcorn, I was like,
deal with.
Like a red flag now, but see, in my younger years, I would be like,
yeah, that's a red. That's popcorn. Absolutely a red flag.
It's a red flag. Dang.
But
you know what? A lot of us don't know. A lot of us don't know that's something that you should be looking at, or to look more at the action than just the surface of it. Yes. Because like in my younger years, what brother man would have done that, I would have been like, oh, I'm just gonna go get my own popcorn, no problem. But I wouldn't have saw exactly what you're saying. But now, if that happens, I'll be looking at this man like you a fool, and I'm gonna take myself home. Goodbye.
Right. Good night.
Yeah. What I was gonna say is that those little things like that,
she'll come back,
matters so much because there's such they're a symptom of a greater issue.
Yeah.
Say that.
They're a symptom of a greater issue. And when at your core you are self-centered, no one could have ever said this was a selfish man, because he's very generous in the ways he chose to be generous. It wasn't about you. It was about him. He chose to be generous. So when someone's good to you, check their motivation. Because the motive, hold on, let me finish this sentence down and now.
Go ahead.
But if the motivation is how it makes them feel,
right,
then chances are they're not concerned about how it's making you feel. And they think you crazy because you got an issue.
That's wild. That's wild.
And the other thing is, somebody being good to you, are they good to you in every area that counts? Are they good to you? Do they love you the same way you love them? That's probably not a good analogy. But you have to look at every area that they're proclaiming to be good to you in, or they're trying to show themselves being good to you in. Because if something big is missing, something little's gonna be missing too, and that little thing will just grow to be as big as that big thing.
And you have to make that determination what your big thing is.
Yeah.
Selective selfishness, Pam, that's good. Because you have to decide what that big thing is. You got to decide what your deal breaker is. Nobody can make that decision for you, but you. And I think that's the one thing that just that whole thing about, you got some men who are they've gotten away with ghosting their whole lives. You know, their whole lives. They've gotten away with, I was just done with that. And never having to have a conversation about it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And when you ghost, then there's no trust coming back because now I'm expecting you to ghost. So we got to be done.
Yeah.
Unless you come so correctly and say, I know I ghosted and I got a ghosting issue.
Mm-hmm. I have a ghosting issue.
I got a ghosted issue. When I can't handle the pressure, I'll be right out.
You need to check yourself in the Ghosters Anonymous, like I be doing. Yeah. I just be dropping it off.
You know, but it's just, you know, just to kind of answer your question in a nutshell. Mm-hmm. If it's deep seated, it's not going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And you got to determine whether the scope of everything else they are is worth dealing with, whatever that is.
Big facts. Yeah.
Because that ain't going nowhere. That's not changing.
Yep.
He 57. That's it. It's there. It ain't changing. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a thing. Oh no, did she freeze? Did they both freeze? Oh,
yes.
Go ahead.
Let me tell you. She right. She is absolutely right. Mm-hmm. You know, at 57, if her brother still got a ghosting problem, it's gonna be there and it's not going anywhere. And it doesn't matter how much him about it, he give it up.
Yeah.
Because that's who he is.
Am I back?
Yes, okay. You are. Because I was like, oh no.
Yeah. But yeah, at 57, 58, 62.
Be gone.
They are where they are. You know?
Yeah.
And you got to determine whether that thing that you are struggling with right now is something that you can get past, or if it's just not, you know, you just can't get past that. And if you decide you can't get past it, hurry up and end it. Because what happens to me in that age is you think they call you crazy when you're young. Yeah. They call you crazier when you're older.
Dang. Yeah. Mom, man. I never thought about that.
Yeah, they call you. They're like, she messed up, man. You know,
that's crazy.
Because you didn't have the gumption to say, this ain't working for me. Yeah.
You gotta get that gumption. Yeah. Okay. So you guys mentioned this a little bit earlier.
And as you get older, it's easier to say this ain't working for me.
Yeah, it is.
That's true.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Because we don't have no timelines.
Right.
We don't have no clocks ticking. We ain't got no timelines. We don't have no vision. We ain't got none of that. None of that.
So we just out here.
And because by my when you roll up out that door.
Said I got time. That's great. So then you touched on this already, but I want to go back to it. Like describe to us about the role that like self-worth and like taking personal responsibility play in, you know, evolving away from the trash, whether that's a person you're dealing with or like how you deal with it yourself. Like how has that like revolutionized your get up and go, your gumption, keep it pushing? Yeah.
Donnie?
Let me start this one off. The first thing that I noticed when I finally said,
hold on, Auntie Dawn, I'm gonna stop you real quick. Can you lift your phone up a little bit so we can see your face? Yeah.
Sure.
We was getting more of the girls than your face, which you know.
It might be working for you on YouTube.
You know what I'm saying? If you know
what?
know somebody who might enjoy those, you know what I mean? Holla. We got the DMs. Check our page. You know, if you want to slide in the DMs, you know what I mean? Go ahead. Go ahead. I don't want to interrupt.
Sorry. Go ahead.
So, as you get older and realize your worth, I don't know. As a young woman, I was always looking out for the next guy who was gonna have something to say to me. And as my worth, as I became more aware of how much I was worth, I missed a lot of dudes trying to holler at me because that was not important. And even now, when I'm out with my friends, hey, that dude was trying to catch your eye. No, don't catch my eye. Walk up to me like you got some good sense. Hi, how are you? My name is John. I'd like to get to know you. Don't be trying to catch my eye like this to.
That is a cultivating communication off top. Have that be right. Actually speak to the person.
Walk up to me and say hello. I'd like to hear if you can put a sentence together.
That
part.
Can you put a sentence together? I'd like to hear that.
I need to know if you're going to say, can I conversate with you? So I can say no.
Right.
Can we just right here? Listen.
So many people don't know that's wrong.
Pop culture has done us a disservice, okay? Hip hop in particular. Conversate is not a word.
Not a word.
It goes great. It goes great in some of our favorite songs. It because it rhymes well. It fits in the rhyme scheme. It's like Mary J. Blige with hateration, holleration, dancery when the word was really dance soiree, but she couldn't read it. So it's dance, it's dancery, but it's dance soiree, right? Conversate is like that, but it's not a word. It's converse. It's converse with the person. I just want to make that clear. I want to do a public service announcement. People don't know that, so there you go. It's converse, not conversate, unless you with people who know what you mean by conversate. Anyway, continue. Von's back.
That's not a good first impression.
It's not a good first impression. Don't be like, "Hey, Shawty, I'm trying to conversate with you." Conversate.
You like?
Ooh.
It's not.
Watch your.
It's not. Just like ending the sentence with the preposition. Where you going at?
I just no this, but Auntie Dawn lived in that
preposition, which is away from you.
I just want to qualify that. She lived in Atlanta for a long time. That's no diss to anyone that's on here from Atlanta, but that's how they get down there. So, watch your proper grammar.
On TV.
Yeah. V, what you got on it with this
self-worth?
Okay. So value is not overrated. Value is absolutely an imperative. And far too many of us spend a lot of time talking value. Value.
Go ahead.
A lot of us spend a lot of time talking value, but not really feeling value. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm being a little serious right now because I spent the majority of my adult life being that girl on the outside and feeling absolutely worthless on the inside. Mm-hmm. And no one would know it because I never gave it to you. I could quintessentially make you think I was all that. But then when it came to someone, to the point where I would be like, if I was talking to a guy, this is the craziest stuff, y'all, in the world. Can't believe I'm saying this on national, international internet. If there was someone that I was dating or conversing with, and they started dating someone else, or were trying to talk to somebody else, if I thought she looked better, I would acquiesce. I was crazy. But anyway, I would acquiesce because I decided that she had, I allowed the lie. And let me say this in the camera. Little women, it ain't true. You don't just get them. Okay. So let me just deal with that disrespect. But anyway,
bombs.
I did not know it. I did not know that was them being disrespectful because I didn't have enough worth on my own to not agree with them.
I would also say that's societal programming as well, but like
comparison kills.
Yeah, we all been doing
comparison kills. Yeah. When y'all dropped that bomb just a few minutes ago, I was like, that's it. Comparison kills. And
thank you,
that was diamond. That was diamond.
Yes. The comparison that's in your mind will kill you.
Yeah.
And so, that's why I tell people I'm just really getting on this bandwagon, this plus 50 worth thing, value girl, not taking stuff. It's like, hey, I'm here. And I'm here.
There is a freedom. There is a freedom to understand your worth. There is a freedom to understanding who you are. And there is a freedom to being able to say, well, you ain't all that. Come on, come back. You're not all that. There is a freedom to being able to open your mouth and say, sir, I'm speaking right now. And can you swipe that fly out your head?
That's what I said. Even on presidential debate stage, shut your mouth.
I'm talking. Shut your mouth.
Shut your mouth.
Okay.
But I think that but I think that the whole thing about worth, it is so important because I think far too many mature women are selling their soul for some stew, for real, some game, and it's important that because I think that's why guys get away with it so long. It's because they get away with it because no one stops them in mid game. Nobody stops them in mid lie. Nobody stops them in mid, smooth talking foolishness. Nobody stops them because far too many women are not at a place where they can hear that for the fly yielding mess that it is. Okay.
Right.
Trash.
That. And so because I consider myself just not myself, but I don't want to say it like that because I don't want to speak those words like that anymore. Because too many women consider themselves just a step above trash. Mm-hmm. Then they find themselves attracted to trash.
Selah, pause. Think about
right.
that.
That's exactly what that was. That was Selah.
Gems and bombs sucked all the air out. Like,
yeah,
man. Go ahead.
Because the culture doesn't support it. The culture doesn't support Black women magic, Black girl magic. We had to create it. That's why it had to be created. That's why it had to. That's why it had to happen. Because the culture doesn't support us loving us. Mm-hmm. There's nothing in this culture that supports that.
Dang.
Oof. Oof. And so unless you are some iconic resemblance of somebody else, some celebrity, she look like, then you're dismissed as a lesser option. The devil is a liar.
Yes, he is.
I'm only a lesser option because you're a lesser man.
The father.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If I'm a lesser option, then you're a lesser man. And
Gems
I have
and bombs
to
in the
receive
comments.
who that is.
Gems and bombs in the comments. Real talk. Love all that on value. What about personal responsibility? Because I think that's the thing we've been tracking through. We started with men, but we really mean all of us as humans can be trash.
Correct.
Like we have
100%.
trash things,
trashy ways,
to trashy ways, right? Mm-hmm. But we also talked about, some of that is by choice. Like you chose to be here, or you chose to put up with that. And we had a really great conversation.
Or you chose to open the door and let it in.
Right. Or you chose to open the door. You know what I mean? Et cetera.
Responsibility.
So, what sage wisdom can you give us in terms of coming to ourselves, playing in the mud, tracking mud in the house, as we talked about in the pre-production meeting?
Listen, when you play in mud, you can be on your way to the shower. You can be ready to go wash all the mud off, but you got to look behind you and see all the mud you tracked on your way to the shower. And it's real simple. They are tracks, and your footprints are in them. And you got to own up to your footprint having the mud on it. You got to own up to that. And sometimes you play in the mud because you choose to. And sometimes you play in the mud because you got caught out in the rain and you had to walk through that spot and it was muddy. But if you find yourself playing in the mud because the mud looked fun, then deal with the cleanup that comes with playing in the mud.
Right.
And when you get tired of cleaning up, then you'll stop playing in the mud. It's when you will come to yourself and you'll stop playing in the mud.
Correct.
But there's a very important...
It is just a nasty kitchen and you get tired of cleaning that kitchen. And you finally say, I cannot do this one more again.
Yeah.
That's when your kitchen becomes clean and it stays clean.
Yeah.
So you have to take stock. You got to take stock. Every man is not bad. What did you do? How did you behave in that situation to become treated the way you were treated?
Can I say something about your
kitchen him.
Analogy?
Got a part in that too.
Right.
Your kitchen analogy. Your kitchen analogy. That if you do get tired of cleaning up the kitchen, but you keep on cooking, and every time you cook, you got to clean. So there comes a time when you got to know the difference between I'm going to do some one pot, dishes because I know I can handle cleaning that one pot, or you're gonna make this decision that tonight I'm just going to order in. I'm just going to get delivery because I don't want to deal with this no more. Yeah. And like you saying, Pam, you clean as you go. I get that. But I'm saying that often too, we don't want to clean up because we made the choice to cook that 17.
Come on.
That 17 pot meal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's why Instapot work for people. Because it's one pot.
One place, one pot.
One place, one pot. And when we can learn to be in one place and one pot, we might be able to figure out what's in the pot. Instead of being so frustrated by all the mess we got to clean up that we know we can't enjoy what we eating because we still got to clean it all up.
So basically, take this thing slow. Take it slow.
Yeah.
All you can do right now. Yep. You don't have the time to be dating this and that because listen, be friends and don't be extra. You don't have the capacity for the full course.
You don't have the capacity. You got to know your capacity. You do.
So you still got to process. I think Auntie Dawn, you were saying you gotta take stock, inventory.
Take stock.
Know where you're at. And then seeing it, I think we had talked about this before. Is if you don't know, then you need to have some people around whom you trust, or a person that you can look at you and say, "Hey, sis," or you can really ask, "What am I doing wrong?" Or can you help me out with this? I don't want to do this, so help me not do that. Which may be I don't want to be talking to a bunch of guys for no reason. So when you hear me start popping off that I'm on an app, just go ahead and delete the app for me, please. That kind of stuff. Because I think those are solutions for younger people.
Yep. That's understanding. That's
and not just younger. Not just younger. Okay. Let me clear it up for you. Let me clear that up for you. It's not a younger person issue.
Yeah.
It really isn't. There are an awful lot of people who are mature who are looking for that last great love. And because they're looking for that last great love, they find themselves dealing with a whole lot of frogs trying to get to an old prince.
Face all warded up because you kissing all them frogs.
Listen, man.
Yeah. So I guess what I'm saying is that when men have issues with evolution because we don't talk to them. Women have issues with evolution because what they say to themselves is a lie.
Ooh, dang. Gems and bombs in the comments. Somebody write that down, please. I told you gotta take notes. Go ahead.
Ooh. Because men are typically pragmatic. So if you say, bruh, this, and this ain't working, and if you want this quality of a woman, you can't do this, and this. All right. Well, I need to either decide whether I'm gonna slum the rest of my life or I'm gonna pull up and do this. Well, we tend to lie to ourselves and say that we are all of this and we just waiting on this right man because Mr. Wrong keep coming, but we don't keep trying to be Miss Right. So since we don't,
because women can be trash too.
We've said it multiple times.
You know, I had a young man that was on his on Facebook today, and he said women, something to the effect that women always want a good man until they find out that good man requires them to be a better woman.
Come on. I be telling some men that too.
You know,
I want a good Christian woman. I want a woman like you. I'm like, bro, a woman like me don't want you though. Sorry.
Right. You know,
because you're trash, not because you can't evolve, but in this moment in time,
in this
current
moment. And you know what? But I think the difference between older men who are struggling with that and younger men who are struggling with that is younger men know they're struggling. Older men don't think they're struggling anymore. They say that's just them. And either deal with it, get with the program, handle it, or keep moving. And so we keep moving.
Well, that requires a set of outside eyes and accountability, as we said, and humility. It's one of those things. Just because you're older, don't mean you're necessarily doing better.
But when your circle,
but if you're born right,
if your circle is
surrounded by trash, don't be the fly. You know what I'm saying? Don't be the fly circling the trash. It's
when your circle keeps telling you how, man, a man like you ought to, a woman ought to be just like eating out your hand, man. You eating out his hand, really?
No.
Ain't even washed that hand today.
I cannot.
Because it nasty.
Nobody want to eat out of that.
It's just, but I guess the hardest part. Go on, Ivana.
Sorry, what'd you say, Vaughn?
Somebody can tell you something all day, but if you don't receive it, it just falls on deaf ears. So it's like having the right crowd, having the right people, having the right circle, like all that stuff is good, or having people tell you where you're, lacking or being trash. If you don't want that accountability, if you don't desire to have it, then it's like it's just falling on deaf ears because you're gonna be offended. You're gonna feel like they're attacking you. You're not going to do better unless you're in the space to want better. Like I feel one thing that guys talk about when they're talking about husbands, like you don't start practicing being a husband when you're married. You start doing the things before you're married. You start acting in a way of a husband or provider or protector of a woman before you get married. So I'm not going to be out here being trash. Oh, I want to get married now and do it. No, that's a working thing, and that's what you're going to have to want to work at and want to do in order to be better place.
Yeah, because it's not a magic trick. I know she's a little glitchy, but essentially she was saying you can't, you know, be practicing these particular behaviors that are trash and then be like, I found a person I want to marry, and think you're going to automatically click over and not be trash. Like it's got to be a continual process to work, evolve, and get better. And we've said this multiple times, outside of a significant other. If you're not working to be better for you, just so you cannot be a trash person, then, you know, that's part of the problem.
I have a friend who just drops bombs all the time on his page, and his hashtag is always these two things: hashtag better for his best, and then hashtag think marriage before marrying. And
Jim's and Bombs in the comments.
And he's you know, he's older, and I mean, he's, you know, in our age range, marriage that did not work, but not about to jump back into it, because he did the assessment of why he ended up that way. And while he can be flaky like most men in our age range, because they don't really always know what they want, the bottom line is, and I don't mean flaky in a bad way, I just mean not sure, you know. The bottom line is that if you have evolved enough to say, I got to be better for his best, so that whatever it is that I believe God is bringing my way, I got to be ready to be the best me for what he brings. Or I've got to be thinking about what marriage really looks like before I marry again, because I can't bring the baggage, the trash from the old into this. And so for that, you get that kind of dude gets chances with me, because you're evolving, you're working that thing out, you know. But those who say, you know, who won't let you have no popcorn, those who, you know, those kind, you're done. You're done, because you don't even recognize that there's an issue with what you're doing. And even when I bring it to your attention, you got to try to remember to do it right. No, sir. No, sir. Check. No, it's over. That's done. You know, we cool. We can be friends. But this above all, you right about it, Terry. To thine own self be true. And unless you can do that, unless you can do that mirror check, you know, that mirror check, and you got to be able to do it. And it's not always an easy place to sit.
Right.
But if I'm doing it, I don't want to be with anybody who isn't doing it. If I'm doing the mirror check, if I'm doing the, you know, if I'm doing the assessment, if I'm checking myself, if I'm trying to figure out who I'm supposed to be for real, for God, for myself, all of that, and you're not doing any of that,
and you're not,
then the Bible clearly says, you know, how can two walk together except they agree? I need an iron sharpens iron relationship, and if I can't have that, then
Jim's and Bombs in the comments. Jim's and Bombs in the comments. Big facts. Big facts. Well,
yeah.
Well, listen, that's big facts. Any departing words y'all want to leave? This is the sage moment of don't be trash to the future.
I want to tell all the unmarried younger ladies, what's the word you use, V? In our younger days, we were, what's the word you use in production? All been grown up, and if you're still growing, please stop, take time to know or get to know what you want to be as a person, who you want to be as a person, first off. Secondly, when you see a problem with somebody that you have decided you want to let into your world, please don't overlook those red flags that are flapping in the wind.
Come on.
That could potentially put you in a situation that you never thought you would be in. And I can say that from experience.
Correct.
You know, you see something and you're like, oh, that's cute, but it's not cute. That's a flag, girl.
Flags.
Or you see something, if it stops you in that moment and gives you pause, you really need to look at it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's sage.
So here,
what you got.
So here's my words. When you know you, then you know what you will or will not deal with. So the first step is to be really clear about who you are. Mm-hmm. Know yourself completely. Know your trashy tendencies and put them in check. And know that so that you can clearly recognize those tendencies in others, so that when you see those flags, you know, it's bad when everybody got the same trash. That's an issue. And in our culture, that can happen at any given moment. So my first thing is to know you, be true to you. And after you have really come to grips with her, then be open, exhibit grace without being a pushover. You know, everybody's in a state of evolving. Nobody's where they're going. And if they are, and they refuse to move from that place, if they are singing "I shall not be moved," then you know to move around.
Exactly.
Okay.
I know.
But if everybody's in a growing, maturing, understands the process of maturation, and everyone's doing that, because that doesn't stop. I don't care if you're 25, 35, 65. If you stop maturing, if you stop growing, you're dead. Mm-hmm. You know, life has a way of growing you up all the time. And so if we're not growing, if we're not becoming our best, you know, then we can't expect to, as my friend said, to be our best for his best. Because if we bring it to this faith walk thing, that there is someone that God knows is the best compliment for your life. Mm-hmm. But you got to be your best for his best. Why would God give us his best to trash on, you know, to trash on, to just be trashy with, and vice versa. So don't get weary while you're evolving into the best you can be. God's growing somebody up, but you got to stay open and aware, because like Dawn said earlier, you can have your blinders on. You have your blinders on, then you miss them. Yeah. So you got to be open. You got to do that systems check. You got to say, this, God, and God will say, nah, not at all. Or God will say, put it over there. You're not ready. They not ready. But there's potential there. Yeah. You know, or vice versa, you know, so you got to stay aware. You got to stay open. But the first point in all of this is know who you are. Know all your trashy points. Because we all bring some to the table.
Trashy points. Yeah.
Yeah, we just do. You know, and when you can face that part of you, it's just like I heard Adrian say, she had to face her, you know, like she said, I've got to face, I'm big right now. I'm just big. I am what I am, you know, and when you can face that you are who you are, but that doesn't diminish your value. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't go from being an A diamond to a C diamond because I got too many pounds. Mm-hmm. I'm still an A. I'm just in a bigger setting.
Hey.
All of that.
Come on, girl, come on.
But it takes time to get there. It just takes time to get there. And you got to do that work. It's hard work, y'all. It's hard work.
It is.
The fairy
it's
tale is exactly that. A fairy tale. It's not real and it's a lie. So get to the real of what life is. Enjoy those things. And as Alice Walker would say, don't pass by the color purple and don't acknowledge it.
Acknowledge it.
Don't be so on your grind that you can pass the color purple. And I say, that's cool, God. You know? Mm-hmm. Because that's also part of who you are.
Yeah.
That's my wisdom.
Listen, the aunties, y'all. Can I get some claps in the comments? Clap it up, man. Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up, clap it up. Yeah. Thank y'all so much. Listen, we're gonna be chewing on that.
Thank y'all so much.
If y'all don't know, Aunt V is a pastor, okay? So she came and she snatched our lives. The altar is now open. If y'all need to come, give your life to Christ again. Yes, Jasmine Vaughn's shirt does.
Yes, it does. It does.
Unless God sent you, I'm unavailable. Okay. So
because I'm too busy being my best for his best. So when you are his best, I'll know it.
Yep.
Boom.
Yes.
Boom. Thank you, Auntie, so much.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you for what you're doing. Love y'all.
Nah, thank you. Thank you. Listen, y'all. I mean, it's that time. We've come to the end of the Men Are Trash series. This particular bonus episode. Please thank Adrian, Kendra, Auntie Dawn, Aunt V. Give them some love in the comments. Thank y'all for staying around, rocking with us. Listen, we're gonna have this up. So if y'all need to go back and revisit some things, okay?
I do.
We all do.
My child was trying to put his Xbox, connect his Xbox.
Yeah, that's why you were gone.
I don't know. I don't know what happened, but that's fine.
But it was live, man.
But I was practicing that grace that Adrian was talking about.
Grace.
Grace.
Hello. That's so funny. So thank y'all so much for rocking with us, man. If you have not checked out some of the, maybe this is the first episode you watched and you're like, wait, what was the other things? Please go back and watch them. They're up on our YouTube channel. So make sure y'all hang out with us. And we just want to leave you with these thoughts. Jess, you want to kick something out real quick?
No, I just want to tell them, like, if you do have time to go back and watch those, there are a lot of gems in there. It's a lot of stuff, like, it's maybe stuff that is in the back of your head or something that you're like, is that a problem? I don't know. And you can get like other people telling you it's a problem, or just talking about themselves, and you can hear what they've gone through and how they've gotten to the place that they're at. I learned so much as a woman. Of course, I'm a woman, but as a single woman, from men that helped me in my own evolution. So I definitely encourage everyone, especially fellas, if you ain't got no other fellas over there, to bounce things off of, these videos will definitely help you just to hear other brothers and what they've gone through and stuff. And so I definitely think it's good for you guys to go through. One of the things that I got from what our aunties was talking about is the importance of doing a list. Like we all talk about it, men do it and women do it. They make a list of that person. I think it's important for us to, if you do have a list, look at what you need to be in order to get that. Then you look at so now you make a list for yourself. And so if you're looking for someone who's loving, kind and compassionate, then you probably need to be, and you're tough and hard, then let's work on listening. I'm talking to myself, y'all.
I told you the altar is open. The altar is open. The spirit.
I'm calling nobody out but myself, okay? There's some things that I can work on my own, in order to get that, So just if you guys have your list and stuff, and you have not made a list of what you need to work on to get to that point, I just encourage you to just do that.
Mm-hmm. And I'll also say this. I heard somebody say this. I think it's Shan Booty, if y'all know her on YouTube. She's amazing. But get her book, The Game of Desire. Take all of those personality tests. She has you go through the 5 love languages, all that stuff. She's amazing. Yeah. But in her book, Game of Desire, she said, I made this list, speaking of a list, and she was like, and I had some of my clients make it, and they were like, this sounds like a job application. Like, why am I making this? And she said, because you got to think of yourself as the CEO of your own company, right? Which is you and your life. Like, you've built a lot and invested a lot in becoming the person that you are, right? And all these things we're talking about that you're working on and whatever, like, you don't want to promote somebody who should be a janitor to, you know, in your company, like at that level of your life, to an executive, you know what I mean? Or the guy that comes in and just kind of fixes the stuff, the fax machines and whatever else, you know, the copy. Like, you don't want to make that person an executive. You got to qualify who's coming in and out of the company that is your life. So you want to make sure you're good. You know what I mean? As a CEO, you got all your things in place. You're handling things well. And then whoever's coming in and out of your doors, you know what I mean? Put them in their proper place. Categorize the people in your life so you don't be on some foolishness. So we're going to leave you with this, homeboys and homegirls, as we close out this series, as we close out this bonus episode. Like, let's just do the work, man, so that we can just work on our trash thoughts, our trash patterns, our trash behaviors before they deal with us. And before we hurt other people, like Tony said, you know, we don't think of people as like toxic waste, right? Like people you kind of step on to get to where you need to go next. That's not really the move. Like, we want to make sure we live in peaceably with all people. We live in people better than we found them. Like, let's be those type of people. Like, let's grow up and glow up and help other people do the same. You heard me? And then our final thought, man, the trash of your past does not have to be the trash of your present, and it'll help you avoid being trash in the future, because we don't want you to be trash to the future. You feel me? We want y'all to be our amazing homeboys and homegirls who y'all can say, man, that Men Are Trash series women are trash, people are trash, changed my life. I'm a better person in the future now because I don't have to deal with that. So with that, in the words of Free and AJ, thank y'all for spending your time with us. Live life. And this is us, man. This is the Intermission podcast. Thank y'all so much for y'all time. And we're going to see you on the next one. Peace.
We'd love to hear from our homies, so feel free to email us at intermissionhg, as in homegirls, that's intermissionhg@gmail.com. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram at intermissionhg. Until next time, this has been A Break with Your Homegirls.